Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Breaking Shan podcast, episode 2 of our Retirement Teachers Edition. Today, we are sitting with Mr. Manzo, a great teacher. He teaches biology, and we will ask him a little bit about him. We started with episode 1 with our other teacher, Mr. Smith, that taught history. So now, let's get right in and let's start the conversation because we always have real stories and real conversations on point. Let's begin. Thank you for joining me, Mr. Manzo. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, Zishan, and I really appreciate the very kind intro.
Thank you. So we have a few questions written down for you, and some of them are about your retirement and about your education life. And then we have some fun questions mixed up for you to get to know the fun part of the teacher of you. So let's start off with introducing you. So can you introduce yourself and just share a bit about your teaching background and just tell us how long you've been in education?
Sure, no problem. Well, my name is Mr. Frank Manzo. I've been teaching here science at Atlantic City High School for 33 years. I started my career here in 1992 of September at the old Atlantic City High School. I graduated from Mount St. Mary's College in Emmitsburg, Maryland in 1991. I did some student teaching at Walkersville High School in Maryland. Then I subbed at Absegami and Oakcrest for a bit, and then I started here, like I said, in September of 91. And I've taught all different types of science classes throughout my time here. After obviously getting my degree in biology at Mount St. Mary's, later as I was teaching, I got my master's degree from Richard Stockton College of New Jersey in instructional technology.
Wow.
Now, like I said, altogether, it's been 33 years here at the high school.
Wow.
But I do joke with my wife sometimes, I've been in school for 50 years because I haven't left school since I was 5 years old in kindergarten.
True,
So, yeah.
true. That's very true. And you basically got out of college and right into teaching.
Yeah, so I was fortunate. I started here when I was 21.
What made you become a teacher? What inspired you?
It's a great question. I was very fortunate as a student. I always loved school, but I had some really, really good teachers growing up that made an impression on me. And then when I was in high school, I was very fortunate enough. I had some teachers that had us do these oral presentations in class. And when I got in front of the class, I enjoyed, doing my presentations, and I always got a pretty good response from, my fellow students, and it kind of, I guess the light bulb went off there.
That's kind of me as well. When there's presentations time and I say, let's do presentations, and a lot of students like, no, let's just submit it. They get all mad at me because they don't feel like getting up, but I'm like one of those that wants to get up there.
Yeah, I get it.
What kept you inspired for 33 years of staying in this teaching career?
I mean, first of all, I'm very fortunate, that I've been able to live my dream. I think that as a teacher, we have, this unique ability, like each year you get new students and which come with new challenges. And I think, I guess part of me, being as competitive as I am, I always want to better myself as a teacher each year. So I kind of learn, from year to year how to improve on what I'm doing and work on my craft. And so that kind of keeps me motivated. And so that's the main thing.
So you said you taught different science classes.
Mm-hmm.
So currently you're teaching biology. What other science classes have you taught?
Sure. So this year I have academic biology,
Okay.
But I also have honors biology. So those are the two different levels that I have. When I first started here at the old high school, they had me teaching something called human biology. And then I had a course called Science 1, and then I also had taught Earth Science.
Okay.
So over time, It's become mostly biology, just different levels. But yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Okay. That's great. You taught different levels. So so teaching part, it's not like you have one specific subject. It's whatever the school assign you, or do you get to choose?
Well, as a science teacher, the state laws, only allow you to teach certain sciences. They're very
Okay.
specific. So my certification is in biological sciences.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be able to teach like physics, for example. Like that's
Oh,
something that's totally
okay.
separate. Even if you wanted to teach something like chemistry, you would have to have a chemistry degree,
Got it.
to teach chemistry, where my degree is in biology.
What about biomedical science? I think that's what they're having here at the
Yeah,
high
so
school.
that I would be able to do something like that
Okay.
because that fits within the parameters of my certification.
Okay. What's one thing you think students taught you?
I mean, over the years, students have taught me a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think the coolest thing is that after doing this for over 3 decades, as I get older, obviously there's new trends,
Yeah.
there's new lingo,
Of course.
so I'm able to pick up a lot from my students of what's quote unquote in. And so that's always fun. But then they also teach me what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
If I try a lesson out and no one likes it or no one gets it, then I know I need to scrap that and do
Okay.
something different next time. So those are just some of the things.
Do you think teachers should use or learn from students as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you need to know your audience. You need to be able to um, take from them any bits of information that you can use to your advantage to help you in, when you implement your lessons.
Yeah.
Incorporate what you think is going to work with them.
Got it. And how do you feel as you prepare to retire?
It's crazy. Honestly, it's a bit surreal. I sort of, as you grow, and you get older,
Yeah.
retirement is something like way out in the,
Yeah, you look
distance.
very young to
Oh,
retire.
Zishan, I appreciate that,
I would
man.
have guessed maybe 22, 20 years, but 35, 33, I couldn't.
Yeah, well, I guess because I started at age 21,
Yeah.
so I've been doing it for a long time. Uh, my kids always joke with me, if I colored my hair, maybe I might look a little younger.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's bittersweet, to be honest with you. I'm gonna miss it for sure. It's been a great profession, but I'm also looking forward to the next chapter of my life.
What will you miss most about this school community and, after your retirement from the school?
I think what I'm going to miss most is that over the years, Atlantic City High School has become like a second family to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, there's colleagues that I've worked with for
Yeah.
decades,
Yeah.
and I've known them. I've seen them get married. I've seen them have children. So I mean, it's literally like a family. Being here for so long. But I'm also going to miss the interactions that I have with students. And I've had some really, really amazing students over the years.
What are you most looking forward to in your retirement? Do you have any specific plans?
I do. Some plans are specific,
Yeah.
some not so much.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to be able to wake up and just kind of work at my own pace
And
and
start a new journey.
start the journey, and just focus on my hobbies. I'm looking forward to traveling. My wife and I have sort of a bucket list that we want to get through. There's some things that I want to tinker around, like at home, but just the overall freedom I'm looking forward to.
When it comes to summer, do you work in the summer as a part-time? Do you get annoyed at sitting at home, or do you just relax and spend that
Sure.
time for the next year?
Yeah, when I was a younger teacher, I used to have to work in the summer, to pay the bills
Yeah.
and so forth.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I sort of have the choice to work during the summer. So recently, I have not worked in the summer, but I do use the time. I love being outside. I love sports. Like I play a lot of pickleball. I used to play a lot of tennis. I like to go for walks, things like that.
That's good.
So yeah, summer is a great time to recharge the battery.
Of course. If your classroom had a theme song, what would it be?
Um, well, my favorite band of all time, I don't know, Zishan, if you've heard of this band. They're from back in actually the 80s, but they're called The Cure.
The Cure.
And they have this song, it's called Just Like Heaven, which I just think is a beautiful song, probably my favorite song. And I like a lot of songs because I'm a musician as well. But
You are?
yeah. So I played guitar
Oh, you
on the
play
side, so
guitar.
it's kind of a hobby of mine.
Oh, that's so great.
But the reason why I say Just Like Heaven is because I feel like, just like the song, like, the reason why it's such a great song is that the way Robert Smith, made all of the instruments come together and work harmoniously, and the lyrics and everything together, kind of like in a classroom. Like, I guess ideally, if I have a really good lesson going and the students are into it and they're having fun and I'm having fun, then it can be like heaven.
Have you ever played the guitar in front of your students in the classroom?
I have. It used to be sort of a end of year tradition that I've been doing for a long time. But then I would say around 2007, 2008, somewhere where iPhones started getting really popular.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be like becoming viral kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't really do it as much as I used to.
Yeah.
Because I know, kids like to, make records
Yeah.
and so forth. So I'm not out to be famous or anything. It's
Of
just
course.
really
I
just
mean,
for fun.
it's a hobby. It's just to
Yeah.
get entertained.
Exactly.
Entertain yourself and the students.
Absolutely.
Do you think you're gonna do it this year since it's your last year?
I'm not so sure. I mean, students always ask me about it, and
Yeah.
I kind of joke with them that if I do bring my guitar in, they're going to have to sing along. So, I would rather just play.
That's great. And maybe they will if you
We'll see.
if you
We
talk
will see.
about it. What's the most creative excuse a student might have gave you for not doing their homework?
Well, I don't know. Creative. I'm not the type of person that likes excuses.
Of course.
I feel like I give students plenty of time to get the job done. So it's not like, oh, this is due tomorrow. There's usually plenty of time. So I don't know about creative, but I would say the most memorable excuses are probably during the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
Obviously, students are always saying like how during that time that, oh, my internet's down or something like that, and they couldn't do the assignment, or, so I would say that would be a memorable excuse.
And that was a big time as well. It was a big trouble back then, but good thing we're over it.
Yes, absolutely.
If you had the chance to teach a fictional or made-up subject, what would that be?
I would think well, first of all, I'm a big Star Wars fan. So obviously, Star Wars is fictional. If I can somehow incorporate biology and mix it into Star Wars, because I feel like there's a lot of characters that have developed some unique adaptations that help them survive in whatever environment they're coming from.
What would
so
you
I'd
think
try
of
to blend the two.
What would you think of the name Bio Wars?
I like that. Bio Wars, parts 1 through 10.
If you could swap your role with someone else in the school for one day, who would that be?
Well, I love teaching.
Yeah.
So it would have to be probably just teaching, but a different subject. So maybe something like a phys ed teacher or a business and finance teacher. And I say that because I do love sports. So I would love to maybe play basketball with the kids or, something like that and be out there. Same with business. If I didn't become a science teacher, I've always enjoyed, studying finances and things like that. So I think I would like to possibly teach that.
Do you have any specific teacher in the school that you would want to switch the job with?
Well, I don't know if there's any specific person.
Yeah.
I can't really say that. It's just really more the subject.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If your teaching journey was to be made into a movie, what would you title it?
I'd probably title it The Evolution of Mr. Manzo, because I feel like I have evolved over time. And I feel like not only, you know, aging wise, but
Yeah.
just, I think as a teacher, I've had to make a lot of adjustments and I've had to adapt. And, so my style of teaching, technology's changed. So I've had to make some changes with the technology and, with students and so forth.
If your classroom could have its own mascot or some type of animal sidekick, what would that be and what would it represent?
That's the easy one, Zishan.
Really?
It would be the capybara.
Yeah?
Um, that's my favorite animal these days. I love the capybaras. Whenever I go to the Cape May Zoo, I make sure I check them out because they're really chill kind of animals. They sort of, seem to keep to themselves, and I like their vibe. This is a very chill, relaxed vibe.
I mean, yeah, it kind of seems like, you are a chill person. You want
I
to
try.
keep it
I try.
nice.
That's the goal.
Enjoy. What's your go-to snack or drink to get you through a busy day?
Well, recently, I guess because I'm older and I have to eat healthier, it's usually a banana and a yogurt in the morning. I have some mixed nuts, no salt. Yeah, that usually kind of
That sounds pretty delicious.
Well,
Yogurt and
I
some,
mean, it's I don't know about delicious.
I mean, it sounds nice. Yogurt and some mixed.
But it's healthy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
If you could have one superpower to use only at the school, what would it be and how would you use it?
Well, the one that kind of comes to mind, I guess, because I mean, Superman can fly and he has great strength, so
Yeah.
that would be cool because I can kind of get around the hallways pretty easily.
Yeah.
When there's traffic or if security needs help, breaking up a fight or something like that, it would be nice to have Superman's powers. But also, it would be interesting to read people's minds too if I had that superpower.
I heard that before.
Yeah, I think that one, because sometimes when you're trying to teach something,
Yeah.
you're not sure if students are really getting it, and no one, it's like they say they do, but you really not, you kind of know that they don't.
That's 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Last episode we had that same superpower.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
What classroom item or tool you could never live without in your classroom?
Well, one is right in front of me. This laptop here.
Yeah.
It's become a big part of what I'm doing because, we have our lesson plans, our grades. There's I have my notes on there. I can contact parents and students, and I mean the list goes on and on and on.
Was it hard to get with the technology because you started pretty, way back, and back then it was old school stuff. Now they have all technology. Was it hard to get started, or did you learn? Are you a fast learner?
Well, I don't know if I'm a fast learner, but I'm a learner. And like I said, the evolution of Mr. Manzo. I mean, literally, you're starting with chalk and a blackboard, then overhead projector, then eventually, you get to PowerPoint, smart boards. It just the list goes on and on and on. But it's cool. I mean, I like to learn new stuff. I think it's pretty exciting. And, that was one of the reasons why I got my master's degree in instructional technology, is that I wanted to sort of keep up with the technology and be able to use it in my classroom.
That's great. If you had unlimited time and budget, how would you redecorate your dream classroom?
Well, I'm a huge Disney World fan as well. Matter of fact, I got a trip coming up with my wife.
Oh, great.
But I would design, if I had a unlimited budget, there's this place called The Land in Epcot, which is in Disney World.
Okay.
And The Land has a lot of interactive stuff for everyone. It's a great way to learn science. I mean, there's rides, there's like I said, there's interactive things you can do, and it's just I feel like that would be such a cool way to kind of learn science, just being immersed in it.
everything interactive happening itself, but
Yeah,
it's easier and
absolutely.
helpful. Can you recall a moment with a student that made you either truly proud or it touched your heart, something special, some type of
Yeah, obviously over so many years,
yeah.
there's I've been very fortunate to have a lot of those moments. Not too long ago, I was at the gym working out, and I feel this person behind me, and it's this really big guy, beard, and I'm looking at him like, and I was like, I know him, and then he's like, Mr. Manzo, how you doing? I'm like, oh my gosh, and I immediately I knew who it was, and his name's Teddy, and he was literally a student I had my first year of teaching.
Oh wow.
And he was just telling me how much he loved my class. It was the best class ever. I was his favorite teacher. And, I was just kind of beaming like, oh, that's awesome. And he told me like,
After
he's a teacher now. And,
oh,
so it really, definitely touched my heart for sure.
after how many years do you think it was you met him?
It's got to be now 33 years ago. Yeah, almost 33 years ago.
And you met him recently?
And I just met him recently at the
Oh,
gym. So I
wow.
haven't seen him in a while.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot of years.
Yeah.
If you could invite any public figure or celebrity to speak to your students, who would it be and why?
Um, I'm a big tennis fan. I grew up playing tennis, and one of my favorite players of all time is Rafael Nadal. He's a Spanish tennis player, and the reason why I like him so much is he was just, you can see the motivation, the way he plays, how hard he works. There's a work ethic there that is just so strong. And he just seems like a very genuinely nice guy, someone that I feel like, could come in front of a class and really inspire young people with a great message.
Yeah, that's great because sometimes students need those people to get inspiration,
Yeah,
motivation.
absolutely. Sometimes it's lacking.
What's one part of your job that students probably never notice, but it means a lot to you?
Um, I think the part that the kids never see, I'm an early bird, so I get to work, I guess when I first started, I would be at work at like 6 a.m. And now it's a little later now that I'm at the tail end.
Yeah.
But just the amount of preparation it takes to set up, an effective lesson, whether it's setting up microscopes or setting up, any kind of a lab or, it takes time.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I think students, they just kind of pop in and, I don't think they realize, the effort that's put in,
Yeah.
before they get there.
Yeah, like when they come in, it's ready for them, but they don't see who did all that work for them.
Exactly.
Looking back, is there one school year that stood out, either the most fun, challenging, or meaningful to you? I mean, it is many
Yeah,
years.
I mean,
so.
it's tough. I mean, all 33 years, honestly, are very meaningful. I mean, I've enjoyed every year for the most part because as a high school teacher, I literally will, have hundreds of students, so each year is meaningful. But I would say the hardest year was the first year.
Of course.
Because I'm just surviving.
Yeah.
And, so the first few years are tougher. But as, you start getting your footing and you become more of a veteran,
Yeah.
I would say things get easier. This year has been very meaningful for me because it's my last year.
Of course.
And so I'm really trying to take, people sometimes ask me like, well, how come you aren't taking more sick days or and my response is like, I'm really trying to soak it all in and just enjoy every moment.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm never going to have, this opportunity, so.
And so your first year, did you have your own classroom or did you have to rotate with different classes back and forth?
My very first year, I was fortunate. I actually did have my own classroom. I think science teachers have a bit of an advantage unlike I like to say like a math teacher who
Yeah.
can sort of travel around.
Yeah.
With science, you kind of need all your materials sort
Yeah.
of in one spot. So in the old high school, I was like on the third floor of the building, and I had like my own small little room.
That's good. Yeah, because you need all the lab stuff and you can't
Yeah,
move around with them class to
exactly.
class. What's one school related moment that still makes you laugh when you think about it?
Well, I'm fortunate enough to laugh every day
Yeah.
because I have a good group of friends that I eat lunch with. And so we are always finding things to laugh about and talk about. But I think one of the things about school that kind of comes to mind is like, I now have, I mean, I've had so many students where I've taught their parents. So, like, it's always funny to me that when I get like another generation
Yeah.
of students coming in, it's pretty crazy. And literally, when I see them at like back to school night, or if I'm talking to them on the
Yeah.
phone, and they're like, "Oh my God, Mr. Manzo, I can't believe you're still there, and now you got my son or my daughter." So that's always funny to me.
That's a great moment when you
Absolutely.
see your old students and they're all grown up, almost coming near your
Yeah.
age. What is one thing you cannot live without in general that you need either on your day-to-day life? It can be anything.
Right. I would say I'm the type of person that needs to have an outlet. In other words, there's like I need to have certain physical activity, during the day. I think it helps me relax, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's playing pickleball, whether it's going for a walk or playing my guitar. There's certain outlets that kind of help me just sort of relax. Um, because sometimes when you're just thinking about work all the time and what you need to get done, you can get a little stressed out,
Yeah.
so I need to kind of have that outlet to be able to, just sort of unwind a bit.
Are you a coffee person?
Yes, absolutely. I have coffee every morning. I make my own coffee at home. I usually drink about 2 cups,
Wow.
but I don't have any more than that because I won't be able to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, coffee usually, messes with a lot of
Yes.
people because of that. Before we move into the last question, I also heard that you were Teacher of the Year.
hmm
Was it this year or last year?
It was last year. I was selected as Teacher of the Year.
Well, first of all, congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And how do you feel on that?
It was shocking, to be honest with you. It wasn't something that I was expecting, but I'm really proud and honored to be recognized, by my peers. And, so I just feel like very fortunate, like I said, to just have, this opportunity to be able to, be in contact with so many, amazing
Yeah.
students and staff members and so forth.
Yeah, that really makes a teacher proud and honored because now they know that the school recognizes them. Teachers, others, peers sees what they're doing.
Absolutely.
So, lastly, what advice would you give students that wants to be teachers and first-year teachers that are already teaching?
Sure. Um, there's a lot that I could say here,
Uh-huh.
but I'm just gonna just say this. If I could just narrow it down to sort of one thing,
Yeah.
is that you should lead by example. Um, what I mean by that is I feel like students, um, they respond more to what they see than what they hear. So like when I say lead by example, like my expectations are very high for myself. Like I said, I try to, be at work, early. I try to prepare and make sure that, I'm got, effective lessons ready to go. I try even just interacting, with students and my peers. I try to always be positive.
Yeah.
And so I think students, they watch you, and I think that they can learn a lot just by how they see adults behaving and how they perform.
That's a great advice right there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that wraps up our conversation with you, Mr. Manzo. Thank you so much for sharing your time, because I'm pretty sure this is your prep period.
This is my prep period,
Well,
but it's not a problem, Zishan. I am just delighted that you're even interested in this story.
of course. I mean, there's a lot of people that, myself pretty much, I'm not sure what I want to do after high school.
Sure.
And teacher is something that I really like, but I don't know if I see it as a good career. And this helps me and maybe a lot of young people like me, get something out of this. So thank you for your time and stories with us today. This would be it for today's episode, everyone. Our next teacher is Mr. Tinkler, and he is a ELA teacher, and he also teaches an elective, which you will find out in the next episode. Until then, stay curious, stay kind, and have an amazing day.